Stan Gibalisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1 Golf Victor. Today is September 4th, 2013, Mountain Daylight Time, 6:12 p.m. or 0012 UTC on September 5th. Another band watch. I'm going to start today with the 11-meter band. See what's cooking. Well, somebody's cooking. Now there's some of those CBers. Playing music and jargon and oh my. Now these presumably are full-grown men. I remember when I was about 10 years old, I had a pair of walkie-talkies that operated on this band right here at 27.065 megahertz, channel 9. I remember that to this day. It's the emergency channel these days, I guess. Back then, though, it was just channel 9. And these walkie-talkies put out 100 milliwatts on AM with a whip antenna about 3 feet long. They'd work for a mile or two in flat terrain without obstructions. Well, anyway, this thing had crystals in it. 2 crystals, presumably one for the receiver, one for the transmitter, and I swapped them just to see what would happen. The thing still worked. Now that doesn't sound like an emergency to me, though. That sounded like more jargon. Anyway, I swapped those crystals and ended up with a frequency somewhere like down here. I had a shortwave radio receiver, a Hallicrafter's SX130, if you remember that thing. So I found the frequency, and it was apparently outside of the Citizens band, somewhere on 11.1 meters or something. Anyway, that was way back in about 1965, 1964. Before I was even a ham radio operator. And I set up my own little pirate radio station, 100 milliwatts with that walkie-talkie, wired it up to a long wire antenna outside, thinking that'd make the range better. Played Tchaikovsky's music and other music on there, symphonies, classical music. Weird kid, me. Back in Minnesota at the time. And anyway, I doubt anybody ever heard me. It only went out about a mile or so. But those were those old 78 RPM records. Remember those? They were about a foot in diameter, more than a foot, I think. Made out of this, I don't know what it was. Heavy stuff. Well, there are signals here, and that's really the whole point of showing you this band. Sounds like Spanish, probably coming from Central or South America, indicating that the band most certainly is open. So let's go on up towards 10 meters. The ham radio 10 meter. Band Birdie. Band marker Birdie. Don't hear anything here. Been some warm weather outside. It's 86 degrees down here in the Nerd Cave, according to this thermometer. That's about as warm as I usually get it in the winter with a wood stove going. But there's no furnace running now. There's no nothing. That sounds like a beacon. Yes, it's an XE1, Mexico. It's a beacon in Mexico. Well, that's good to know. Of course, we already heard Spanish just a little ways away in frequency, so that isn't terribly surprising. So this band is in fact open in that direction. Now let's go down. Name is Bill. That might be the VE9 that I worked last night on this band. Well, he didn't send his call. VE9 was in New Brunswick. I always thought that would be up in the Northwest Territories somewhere, but I guess that's VE8. Shows how much I know. Well, there are signals here. That's W1AW booming in on 15 meters. Good band conditions today. Better than have had in a few days. So let's check out this band up here. This 12 meter band. See if there's anything cooking on here. This IC746 Pro tunes a little faster on sideband mode than it does in well, there are signals. He's not sending anything that makes any sense. So I don't know, I can't tell where he is, or she. Most ham radio operators are guys, I guess. So he is a pretty safe bet. Call me sexist, I guess. I suppose I could say it. They should have a hybrid for she and he. Maybe there already is. Well, let's go down to 18 megahertz. I prefer to look in the CW part of the band anyway. There's W1AW sending its bulletin, as it always does at this time of the day. Well, we got pretty good proof now that the bands are all open, all the way up through 10 meters. Which sort of leads me to wonder, now the antenna is not optimized for this band right now, so I think those are just birdies. And there used to be beacons up here, and I used to hear them pretty often. Not so much now. 50.090 seems to be where the CW stations congregate when they are on. And they usually just send their signal report and a grid locator. Sort of like they're always testing. There is the PSK part of the 20 meter band. Plenty of signals there. That's W1AW. (4A2). I'm not sure where that is, if that's Canada or Mexico. (4A2I). Let's look that up on my handy dandy. That's Mexico. He's sending CQDX. Well, I don't suppose he imagines that I'd be DX. Tune up just in case. That thing sure tunes quick, except on 6 meters. Now that's I believe a 500 hertz filter, and I've got a 250 and a 100. That's for CW. On sideband, 2.6 kilohertz for voice, 1.5 kilohertz wide for PSK, phase shift keying, and MFSK, multiple frequency shift keying modes. Although I can run that 2.6 kilohertz. And then when I want to zero in on a PSK signal, 50 hertz, centered at 1500 hertz in the audio frequency range. Anyway, his name is Jose. YV, that would be Venezuela. Well, I've gotten that pretty routinely on this band with 10 watts, so it isn't going to prove much if I do it now. Maybe I need a couple more caffeine imbibements in order to get my enthusiasm level up enough to care about a YV prefix. But right now, a ZL, now that'd make me jump. Anyway, this is Stan Gibilisco, W1GV, Whiskey 1 Golf Victor. Ending, as always, with some beautiful music. W1AW's Bulletin. Just like Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony going over a pirate radio station on 11.1 meters. Except, well, now, do you suppose they're going to come after me now that I've told you this? In 1964, I sent a 100 milliwatt signal out on with Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony going over it. Do you suppose they're going to come for me? Stranger things have happened. 73 for now. See you next time. So long.